Abuse of our immigration system is widespread. Criticism often focuses on fraud, and there's certainly plenty of that. But arguably more alarming, and certainly more amenable to congressional action, is when the executive branch itself is engaging in abuse of the immigration system. I'd like to discuss two immigration programs duly enacted by Congress, but which have been abused so flagrantly and so consistently by presidents of both parties, I'm afraid, over a period of decades, that they have demonstrated that the executive branch simply cannot be trusted to exercise discretion responsibly in immigration matters. The two programs are immigration parole and temporary protected status. Presidents have used parole to allow in foreigners who have no right to be here in any number, anyone they want, for any reason, for as long as they want. And the presidents have used TPS to let people who have already illegally entered the country stay indefinitely. And the key in both cases is that the point is to get work permits and Social Security numbers into the hands of illegal immigrants so it's harder to deport them in the future. Those two programs are the pillars of a shadow immigration system operated across administrations to circumvent immigration limits enacted by Congress. Immigration parole is the first, and it was invented in 1952 to enable the executive branch to let in certain specific individuals for emergency or reasons that are of great importance to the nation. It was understood to mean people with medical emergencies or people who had to appear in court. They did not specify in that granular detail because in that naive age in the 1950s, Congress assumed that the executive branch would exercise its discretion responsibly. They were disabused of that notion almost immediately. Presidents used parole to effect the mass importation of refugees, such that Congress was so frustrated they passed the 1980 Refugee Act so that presidents would have a lawful system to use. Unfortunately, when that happened, the executive then invented whole new parole programs that had nothing to do with refugees. Family reunification parole, Central American minors parole, international entrepreneur parole, and something called parole in place, which is a legal fiction where illegal aliens are retroactively paroled. It's a parole for almost every purpose. But those abuses pale in the light of the misconduct of the Biden administration and its DHS, led by Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas, who paroled in nearly 3 million inadmissible aliens, more than all previous grants of parole combined, which was one of the main reasons this House impeached Secretary Mayorkas. The other pillar of this shadow immigration system is temporary protected status. And again, as with parole, the point was Congress trying to fence in executive freelancing. Because before that, what presidents had done who didn't want to deport illegal aliens is they made up this fake status, which has no basis in law, called extended voluntary departure, EVD. And so the point of TPS was to create kind of a system that was regularized and subject to oversight. The problem is, when the first grant of TPS, which was granted to Salvadorans, who were pretty much all still here, when that expired, the Bush administration, the first Bush administration, made up another 3 initial fake status called Deferred Enforced Departure, DED, to let them all stay. So whether it's EVD or TPS or DED, it doesn't matter, it's all the same thing. Get work permits into the hands of illegal immigrants. USCIS currently lists 12 countries whose illegal aliens have TPS, and the total number is estimated at more than 1.3 million. So what can Congress do about this? Trying to fence in parole and TPS by adding more adjectives and adverbs to the law isn't going to work. It hasn't worked before, it's not going to work again. There are 3 changes I would suggest to limit these kind of abuses. 1, repeal the TPS statute. There's no need for it. ICE can always withhold, suspend deportation for 60 days or 90 days if there's some problem at, say, the airport in a country suffering from an earthquake. Number 2, cap parole, numerically limit grants of parole. You need some kind of parole because you need to have a little wiggle room in any big system. But presidents have shown they cannot be trusted with discretion, so that a numerical cap, there's been a suggestion, legislative suggestion of 3,000 a year, maybe 5,000 a year. I don't have a magic number, but the idea is the same. And most important, prohibit DHS from giving work permits to any alien whose statutory status doesn't expressly provide for it, like say an H-1B. None of those changes are going to end all abuses of the immigration system. Asylum in particular is one of the real problems that Congress eventually is going to have to deal with. But the changes I've outlined would go a long way to limiting freelancing by future presidents and restoring Congress's authority over this area of immigration. Thanks for your indulgence, and I look forward to your questions.